It being 4 o'clock or thereafter, call the meeting to order of the DPW Facility Committee meeting. And I guess I'll move the floor to Jeff Alberti.
All right, thanks. So this evening I have a brief summary of the work that's been completed. We've gone through this a couple of times, so I'll try to keep it brief, and if you do have any questions, I can go back to any of the previous presentations or flip back to any slides that may be needed. Okay. And we are locked up. Give me a second. All right. So just as a quick summary of the work that has been completed based on what was originally established for the project, this is a recap of some of the earlier sites, but we have completed the Phase 1 environmental assessment, which identified some recognized environmental concerns. We went forward with a Phase 2 environmental sampling that was completed, and we found that there was nothing above MCP standards. We also did, that basically means that there's no contamination that's reportable to DEP, so that was a good sign. We also went through the subsurface investigation, and as we talked about early on, we did find undocumented fill across the site. Through that process, we determined that we would need to use rammed aggregate piers, also referred to as compacted stone columns, to densify the soil to make it constructible in accordance with today's building code. So that's been factored into the estimate, and part of this process was to identify some of those unknowns so we could reduce some of the contingencies. We also completed a survey for the site, and using that we developed site plans including nailing down the building, the circulation parking, the detention basin, fuel depot, and also developed a schematic grading plan. We've also completed schematic building design, including floor plans, elevations, and conceptual model. I showed you those at a previous meeting. And we've completed the stormwater investigation using that to develop a conceptual stormwater management plan for pricing purposes. We're also, the one task that I'll just identify as underway, which will be underway throughout design, and that's the landfill mitigation and planning, and that's coordinating with the DEP. We've met with the DEP, we had a positive meeting with them, and we're continually updating them with our updated plans to ensure that they're in the loop. So that'll be an ongoing process, no surprises at this point. We've also gone through with DPW staff and gone through the industrial equipment assessment to determine which equipment is required in the maintenance areas. And using all that information, we compiled that into a package similar to this that you see here. You know, a lot of work that's gone into it. That was then shared with the engineers, Weston Sampson, responsible for an engineer's estimate, and we also sent that to an independent estimate. These two estimates were done completely separate. There was no sharing of quantities, no sharing of costs. It was purely materials that were shared between the two, and I'll show you the results of that in a few slides. So this is where we were in December when we met. This is the schematic design plan, and what we have is a new DPW natural resource facility located in the center of the site. There's the three-dimensional model that was used to help us define the building elevations, and we use that to prepare more detailed elevations for pricing. We have the fuel depot located over to the left-hand side of your screen. That's a separate contract that's underway. In the upper right, we have the fabric salt storage structure. Since we've met, Tom and I have worked through what the storage capacity is for that facility, and we were able to actually reduce that a little bit to help control costs. And then we also have adjacent to that the bulk material storage bins, and the photograph shows you a sample of that. It's just large concrete blocks that are used to help manage materials, and it helps to consolidate that operation. And then in the upper right, we have the cold storage facility, which would be a fabric structure, and that's currently being identified as a bid alternate, so we're not including that currently in the pricing for the overall project, but we'll list that and carry that through as a bid alternate. Now, one of the questions that came up at the last meeting was to ensure that we have the ability to monitor indoor air quality. We talked about the systems that would be installed to monitor the air above grade, and that's done through a methane detection system, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide sensors, which are all connected to alarms and sensors throughout the building. But we also had the discussion of providing some vapor monitoring ports to monitor below the slab to ensure there's nothing building up. So what I'm showing here is 5 locations in red, and there are 2 in the vehicle storage area, 1 in the central vehicle maintenance and shop area, and 2 in the administration area. These are located based on the interior foundations that'll actually create kind of a break point between the spaces, because we'll have some continual footings through the building. So we wanted to make sure that there was no area that would be isolated. And then this is a detail of what that vapor monitoring point would be. And as you can see, what it would include is a 3/4 inch crushed stone layer below the slab that would allow for air movement through that space so that it can be properly monitored. We'd have a vapor barrier, and kind of working your way from the bottom up, you'd have a vapor barrier that's in place and actually wraps this penetration to ensure that there's no migration of any potential vapors. And as I mentioned last time, we don't anticipate this to be an issue because, number one, there's nothing with exceedances. That's a volatile organic compound. And also the groundwater is so low, below 15 feet. Typically DP is concerned if it's 15 or higher. But just in the event that there is any concern, we'll have this here. So then what you have is a 1-inch PVC pipe with an open end at the bottom. And what that'll do is stub up with a 1-inch ball valve. That'll be sealed in place with some non-shrink route. And then there'll be a 1/4 inch hose barb at the top for a sampling port. And so at each of these locations, at any time, the town will be able to access these through a 4-inch diameter cover, which is a locked cover, and monitor what's going on below the slab.
Is that something that happens, what, biannually, annually? What's the frequency there?
That's really going to be standard operating procedures that are going to have to be established by the town. At this point, you don't have to do anything because there is no mandated requirement, but I think the town will probably establish annual or biannual sampling just to make sure. You know, you can start off, build the facility, check it a couple times early on.
If it doesn't respond, then
get
come back every
nothing,
other year.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens if you do get some?
So this gives you the ability to provide, similar to what you do in the house, you can put in a perforated pipe that could then draw the air through by mechanical means, and you can also do some work outside, which we will anyways, to have cut-off trenches to really prevent any fumes from migrating. But we can strategically locate these so that they can be easily turned into an extraction point for that slab.
So in the event that we did
Yeah.
have some issue, we
Right.
could mitigate through that.
Right, so, you know, where we're showing it would, like the center one that it's pointing to, that would be on right adjacent to a wall.
Yep.
So then at any point, you could then connect in a pipe.
And power
put in-
vent.
Yeah, power vent it out, and because you have that layer of 3/4 inch crushed stone, you'd be drawing the air to that point, and you'd be able to extract it.
Okay.
And then what you do is just add a sampling port above grade on the pipe that gets extended, so you can still sample it.
Hey,
How
Dan?
big is,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, buddy.
how big is this area here?
On the detail,
Yeah.
that would be under the entire slab, that 3/4 inch stone layer.
Oh, it would?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dan, have you got any questions there?
Yeah, well, thanks, Pete. Yeah, what's the cost of that, above, not doing it?
Each port's probably running $300 to $500. Very inexpensive. It's just 1-inch PVC piping, a ball valve, and a cover. So it really doesn't have a major impact to the construction costs.
Okay, and is there a portable sampler that would be used at that point if you wanted to sample? You wouldn't have an in-place sampler, you'd actually use a portable sampler?
Correct.
Okay, good. That's great, thanks for doing that, Jeff.
No problem. And I'll get this presentation sent out in PDF form so you can see the detail, Dan, when you get a moment.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Okay, so that brings us to where we're at schematic cost estimates. So using all that information, again, we went back and prepared 2 separate independent estimates, and I wanted to break it down in a summary format of the major components. And then I'll talk a little bit about how does that compare to other facilities. So again, we're looking at a cost-effective pre-engineered metal building, and we have a building cost of roughly $9.4 million, which is the 37,242 square foot building. The industrial support equipment includes wash, maintenance equipment. Your basic support equipment is about $527,000. The site development costs, which is your DEP mandated stormwater system, clearing, excavation, electrical, site lighting, paving, curbing, fencing. It's really the full site development, it's approximately $1.5 million. We have the fabric salt storage structure, about $230,000. The design contingencies, which we're carrying anywhere from 10 to 15% early on, we've reduced down to 5% based on the fact that we've accounted for the knowns and also been able to discount issues such as contamination. So that's down to $585,000. And then we have escalation, just 1 year to bring us to 2017 at roughly 3%, brings you to $370,000. So your total construction cost is $12.6 million. On top of that, and as you can see, that's equivalent to $339 a square foot. Now, what we found with the independent estimate, so we were at $12,640,000 for the engineer's estimate, and the independent estimate came in, and I have to say this is the closest I've ever seen it, came in at $12,626,000. So typically we have larger gaps, but I think what we found is that we had developed the plans, the site, and the building, the site, in a lot of detail that we're basically looking at the same project as opposed to guessing at what the finishes are, things like that. So I think that's a good indication of where we expect that price to be. So on top of that, you do have some soft costs that it's important that you carry through the process. Some you hope we won't have to spend, such as construction contingencies, but you have furnishings, which is your basic fit out of the office areas and the employee facilities. Communication systems, antenna, radio, your basic, as well as printing of the bid documents when you go to public bidding at $105,000. Commissioning and testing and inspection. Testing and inspection is required by the building code to hire an independent testing lab. They'll measure the density of the soil as you're filling. They'll check concrete breaks. They'll inspect rebar. So it's just a third set of eyes to ensure that it's being done as controlled construction and is a requirement of building code. Commissioning is not a requirement, but it's something that we strongly recommend, and this is where you hire an independent company that specializes in the operation of the mechanical systems. And once the contractor says he's done, the commissioning agent comes out, and they'll work with them through the shop drawing process as well, but they'll come out and they'll actually run every piece of equipment frontwards, backwards, make sure that everything is running per the plans and specs in detail. We'll have our staff out there, but they're out there at periodic basis, so this just ensures that you limit your callbacks in that first year. We found it to be very successful. We're carrying allowance for utility back charges of $30,000. That's just a guess at this point. Typically we find as you extend any service into the site, there's potential for a utility company to back charge the project. And then finally, the construction contingency, which before we were at 8%, we knocked that back to 6% through the process at $760,000. So your total soft costs are $950,000, and putting you round number of $13.6 million for your total project cost, $12.6 for the building, and then approximately $1 million for soft costs. And again, the numbers do track in line with what we've seen. So, as I mentioned, $339 a square foot is what the building and site construction cost comes out to. So what we did is we went back to the last 4 projects that we did that were all bid in 2014, constructed in 2015, and we took their cost and escalated them to 2017 and also included a location adjustment factor based on where this facility will be constructed. And so through this process, we found that the lowest priced option out there, Whalen Public Works Facilities, was about $274 a square foot. The main reason for that and what we found was that Whalen didn't have salt storage structure, and they also didn't have some of the specialty foundations that we're looking at, resulting in a lower price. But more importantly, Whalen was bid at the beginning of 2014 before the market was flooded with work, and we had, I think I might have mentioned it, we had 14 to 15 bidders, general bidders, and the prices ranged from $8.5 million to $10.6. So it was a real good market at that time. As we went further into 2014, contractors got real busy. We had less bidders, and so you can see Medford, Bourne, and Norwood escalated out, go from $329 a square foot to $340, up to $344, and we're tracking at about $339. So if you compare it to those recently completed facilities, escalated out to 2017, we're right in track with what these other facilities, other communities have been building, very similar types of facilities, basic pre-engineered metal building structures. And then finally, really moving forward for the next phase, wanted to just talk a little bit about the design fees, what's needed to keep the project moving forward. Now that the program's been better defined, we're able to put together a hard number for what we anticipate would be required to get you through design, and also identify owner's project management requirements. And through that process, what we found was the original capital improvement plan budget for the design fees that had been discussed was $1.2 million. And based on what we know today and the work that's been done, we've been able to reduce what that request would be using the design and bidding services fee of $750,000, and then owner's project management services of $150,000, puts us at $900,000 versus that $1.2 million that was originally anticipated.
Where does clerk of the works fit in here? Is that what owner's project management services are?
That would be during the design phase. This is just to get you through the basic design and bidding services. That would come in the construction admin portion.
Have we included any clerk of the works fees in what you projected here?
Not at this point. I think
Not for
we've.
construction, we're not there yet.
What are we, what would be anticipated for that?
Let's just make sure apples, okay, so for construction,
Yeah.
this would be your construction administration fees for clerk of the works. So let's touch on that for a minute. There's two pieces. There's the design piece, there's the construction piece. There's owner's project manager, or OPM, which we're required to do by statute, okay? Right now, we're gonna carry $150 for OPM through design. What we're anticipating is, we've got two people on staff that can be, who have been OPMs, myself and Ron Collins, okay? Through design, it's quite possible that Ron could be tied up working on a police station project. He's not gonna have time to OPM the design. So we're carrying this to have an outside firm be our OPM for design. When we get to construction, a year from now, hopefully, when we're ready to roll into construction, at that point, we'll know what's going on with the PD. Even if the PD does go, it should be wrapping up around the time we ramp up, earlier schedule for construction. So Ron, what we're looking at this point, hoping is that Ron would be our OPM for construction, and not cost us anything. Now, we still need clerk of the works.
Right.
Okay, so clerk of the works would come in the construction phase, and I would anticipate Weston and Sampson will have a big piece in the construction administration, shop drawing review. You want to talk about that scope a little bit?
Yeah, so the services that we provide would be shop drawing review, RFI review, any change order review, schedule review. We'd be out for weekly meetings. We'd also have each of the disciplines come out, what's referred to as periodic site visits at key points. So during excavation, a geotech would come out, confirm where proper subgrade. Structure will come out to check rebar, in addition to the independent estimator. And then as we start to erect the building, structure will come out to check the steel. So typically you'll find them out every couple of months or every month, depending on what the requirement is. But not on full time. That's where the clerk of the works component would come in separately to be the eyes and ears when we're not out there.
Yep.
But we would be out managing generally the day-to-day paperwork associated with the project.
Jeff, did you have any hours somewhere? I'm just trying to remember now, because we've talked about this. Any hours or costs for clerk of the work services, or no? Have we not discussed that one piece?
No, we haven't discussed that one piece. And that can be handled in many ways. I've seen communities hire a full-time clerk of the works that sits in the trailer half the time because, it takes all day to prep a slab when they only need to be there 2 hours. A lot of communities have been going to a part-time basis and basically working closely with the town to figure out when they need to be on site.
Okay.
That can cost, anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 for the part-time, full-time to part-time person.
Okay. John, you were
I
going to
just
say?
had a question. Who'd be authorized to do change orders?
On behalf of the, typically that would be the
John
town,
Kelly.
yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing change orders with John Kelly.
Yeah, we would just make recommendations. We would review them, make sure that they're not overcharging, check quantities. then we would provide a letter to the town saying that we recommend approval once we are in agreement. We go back and forth several times. Then we would prepare an AIA change order and send that to the town, the contracting authority to sign. So nothing gets approved by us.
So is it correct that what I'm hearing from you is there should be a number of, somewhere in the vicinity of $150,000 for clerk of the works services?
Yes. In the
But I will
construction.
say maybe. We don't
Okay.
know yet.
Right.
I would like to not have that. I would like to do that work in-house.
Okay, that would be great. In an ideal
That's-
world, the only thing I
all
think
we
we can
need-
assume at the moment is that may not happen in-house. And if we don't have to, then I don't want to be, hi, it's us again, we forgot to do
Right.
something.
I mean, right now, and one of the things I want to talk to this committee about, and I'll just say it now as Jeff continues to think about this, the selectmen are going to look for, and I won't speak for them, but the selectmen, I'm pretty sure, are going to look for, and maybe even today, if you're ready, it's all your comfort level, are going to look for a recommendation from this committee on design fees for this town meeting.
Yep, we
And
understand that.
And construction estimate number for the capital plan for next year.
Right.
Right now, we're carrying 12.
Right.
I got one, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I got one question for Jeff. The design bidding service is $750. Number was 7, no?
It was 7:30, and we just
Oh,
rounded.
okay,
So it was
okay,
just
all right, okay, all right.
rounded for any miscellaneous town charges. So that would include some minor
Yeah, it's fine.
contingency.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And so bear in mind, just I'll say to the committee, we got 1.2 million in the capital plan, we're now coming in at 900,000 for design, so that's good.
But,
Okay.
so, to get back to Peter's point, though, because I'm a little confused, are any of the costs which have just been discussed in the last couple of minutes embedded in your initial estimates in that $12 million?
No.
Okay. So it's more than $12 million.
Right. The 12 million is the construction.
Right. So we
In-
don't
in-
have, but we don't have any of these other oversight costs embedded in there.
Right.
At this time.
John?
Okay, the Board of Selectmen has started last night going over the initial review of the present capital plan. If you go to the construction phase, and right now I believe it's 12 million,
Right.
and you need to ask for 13.5 or whatever, that would be a 75% vote at town meeting to change that figure since it's already in the capital plan.
Right,
So that'd be something you'd have to think about.
right.
So the fact that I don't think we would change the capital plan current fees from the
For design.
1.2 to 9, so that 300,000 might be available to use for something else, as
Okay.
long as it's part of this. But I would have to talk to John Kelly to see what the legal ramifications are.
Mechanics of that, okay. Okay.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Jeff, you said that part of the problem that you got to this 348, I think that's what the number is, for around 350, that there's been a lot of activity on a lot of bids that have gone out for municipal building area over the past 18 months. Are you seeing any slowdown starting to happen? Is there a pent-up demand there where now there's less of a demand? There's only so many cities, only so many towns that can request this kind of construction. And is there any kind of fall-off coming in this building in demand for this type of structure?
I haven't seen anything yet, Dan, but we are tracking it closely. We're putting a couple of projects out to bid in the next 4 months. And so within that time period, I'll be able to give you a sense of how many bidders we have and whether contractors are getting hungry again. But there's a potential that could happen. And if we do find that, then we should see some better numbers. But we're also kind of competing with escalation, which we've seen to be pretty steep recently.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of different things now. Commodities. There's a lot of steel that's come down. It's starting to come down pretty radically. There's the saturation of the market more. So there's a lot of things that are in our. One of the challenges is if we go too soon, we might not be able to realize that benefit. Second question: have you ever done a bid? We talked about this before, but have you ever done a bid where you gave the construction firm the opportunity to start the project over a longer span, so that we get people, rather than acquiring that start point, say, okay, you have an 18-month or a 24-month window to start construction. Here's anybody do that will actually give the builder the opportunity to plan better, which should reduce their costs, and also if there is a cost coming, there's a lot of people predicting there's going to be, with all the slowdown around the world, in the West, growth in the U.S., that we could benefit from a slowdown in a 24-month period versus, a 6-month or a 12-month period.
I actually, in the last round of 2014, when we were bidding those projects, I reached out to a couple of contractors that I knew very well that had built facilities for me previously. And someone had asked a similar question. We were thinking about extending the schedules from 12 months to 16 months on one project and 18 months on the other to give them a little flexibility. And the contractors actually suggested that we not do that because then they felt that the cost would go up. They'd be out there longer. Their general conditions would be longer, and even some of them could start later. But these guys are all of the opinion that the tighter schedule gets them in and out quicker, and it would be more beneficial to leave it with a tighter schedule.
Yeah. So my schedule is built when they start. Okay. So if I'm a guy who's running a large construction space, I've got only so many resources. If I can pick my window when I can build, I should be able to reduce my bid. So I'm not saying do build time frame.
You have to go up too.
I'm talking about start time frame.
Sure.
Casino.
One of the other challenges too, Dan, is these guys have maximum limits on how much they can have active out there with DCAM, and so
Right.
so if you give them an extra 6 months and they're actually not going to start, once they're awarded that project goes on their books, and so then they could lose bidding ability. So it's something else to keep in mind. But I can definitely reach out to the contractors that I know and phrase that question to them again and see if see what the market's currently showing, to see if that has any value.
Yeah, because I can imagine that there's going to be. I mean, there's always, there's always going to be with commodities falling so much. There's got to be some benefit, especially in steel and some other areas.
Sure, I'll definitely reach out to them and see if I can get them to weigh in on that.
Okay. Commodity steel, the major, besides concrete, is steel the major commodity here that we're taking a look at?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second commodity? Concrete number 2?
Yeah, I would say concrete, definitely number 2.
And what's number 3? Is it just stone and gravel?
Yeah, probably, and most of that would be local resources. But that's really what this building is. It's concrete metal, so there's not much more to it than that.
Okay, so if we find out what the projection is, and I can talk to a couple large districts to find out what their projections are, pretty close to a couple guys, so I can find out what they're seeing in steel. Steel is cracked, so that'd be true.
Okay.
HVAC also.
Yeah, HVAC.
Oh, one other question. As you were talking there about the 75% above here over that 12 million, if you look at the cost of the actual garage as a possible bid alternate, that's one of the things I'd ask.
Yep. Let me
Garage broken out.
let me just grab my notes real quick. So the vehicle storage garage component, which is about 18,000 square feet, has a value of about $3 million.
Okay. So of course, 77, if we could get this number down, look, we're down to 12 million. Is there anything else that could be a bid alternate that could be $1.5 million besides the self-storage?
There's probably little things here and there, but for the most part, through the process of getting to where we are, I think we've kind of whittled the program and the facility down to the basic amenities. There's really there's not a golden egg, so to speak, that we could knock off $1 million and not impact the facility operations.
And for the, we're now with 3 bays for garage. Are those all 3 bays fitted out with lifts and?
There is a portion in there, yes. We do have about $500,000 in industrial equipment and wash bay equipment. And that includes, lifts, fluid distribution, your basic vehicle maintenance equipment.
What's the cost of outstanding bays and the wash facility versus 3 bays?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What's the cost of 2 bays versus 3 bays?
Well, we've actually, we just moved around the spaces and have the same square footage within the space.
Basically, the lift cost.
Yeah, it's probably the
50
cost
grand.
of a lift somewhere in the $50,000 range.
So you now have fitted 3 lifts?
No, we have one large and one light duty, I believe. Is that? I have to double check that.
Large and light.
Bays.
Right, and then there's an open bay.
Okay, good.
Hey, Dan, can I jump in for a second? It's Tom. Just on the bid alt, like at this phase of the game, Jeff Kane gave me some draft numbers, budget numbers in the last week or so, and we've been scrubbing them. We were working on the fuel depot numbers, we scrubbed them, and just for the committee's edification, the DPW ourselves in-house are committed to doing some work in-house. We're shaving off $100,000 here and there by doing clearing and grubbing in-house, removing loom, subsoil, things like that. So we're going to do a lot of, a good amount of work in-house to help this project. And those numbers are already shown now in these numbers. I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. But on top of that, the bid alternate conversation and even the industrial equipment list, these are numbers that we're going to scrub as part of this next phase. When we get into the design, that's when we're really going to scrub this some more, from finishes to everything. Scrub that, scrub the heavy equipment list some more, which I think we already shaved 100 grand.
100,000, yeah.
We already shaved 100,000 off the initial. We were at 650. We're now down to about 550, give or take, round number. And so that whole conversation on really where do we end up on, what do we eliminate and what do we bid all? Really, that conversation will be ripe in about a year from now, about 8 months from now, probably, to really fine tune that.
So the problem with that, Tom, is that you've got a vote coming up, in May. So we've got to figure out, and what's brought up, if you want to get, over that 12 million, you got to get 75% vote. You got a strategy to work out here. Either we find a way to get 12 million, or we think about how you're going to get to that 75% vote. So, that's great you're doing that in the future, but I think the challenge now is, what are we going to do in May?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We need to look at this, some more this year, but, I guess I'm letting you know that we've already done quite a bit, and we will look at it some more. The vote this spring coming primarily is a vote for design fees that we're saying now at $900,000. That's the heavy vote. That's the vote we need significantly, but hopefully we can also pull the vote to make any adjustment on the construction number for next year if people agree, if the committee agrees.
Okay,
Tom,
And what's the vote needed for the design, for getting that 750 or whatever the number is for design? Is that 2/3 vote?
That should be a 2/3 vote. It should be a 2/3 vote.
Okay, good.
you said in-house is going to be cleaning some loam and everything. Isn't that in the contract of doing the dirt work and stuff?
We've already removed it. So when we did the initial estimate, I reviewed that with DPW and identified how can we try to get that number down even further. And so we identified, and through our estimates, we put in there what's by town. Some of it's, we've carried small amounts of material costs, but labor will be by the town. Some of it the town will just take care of. So that's identified in our estimates to ensure that we can follow that through so it doesn't creep back in later. So that's already taken out.
That's what happened to Bourne, too.
Right. Yeah, Bourne went and did a lot of their site work, and that was used to help control costs on that project as well.
Okay, with
Can we get some
respect,
details on that, Jeff and Tom, at some point in the next meeting? Just so we know, I mean, I think that's an important argument to make at town meeting, that DPW stepping up.
All the estimates.
Yeah, we can send you the estimates, and then I can summarize what, in fact, the town's doing and what that savings, what that amounts to, because I think it would be great for the public to see that the DPW is maximizing, minimizing some costs.
Because I asked before if the town was going to do any work, and
Yeah.
I didn't know at the
Yeah.
time. All right.
with respect to the,
Jeff, when Chatham did their work, what did those guys do at DPW? What's different, what they did? Same with Brewster.
I don't think you mean as far as them doing some of the work?
Yeah.
I think that was all done by a general contractor. They didn't do any of the work.
oh,
What about for,
Chatham?
right,
He's-
The mezzanines.
some of the build-up
Finished
stuff,
out
right?
mezzanines.
On which one?
Chatham?
I think they did the build-out of their second floor, and they did build a mezzanine in their parks shop, in their small equipment shop.
Now, what I'm saying is that the DPW, when we went over there, they were talking a lot about things that the DPW staff did themselves. I thought they did a lot of site work.
Yeah, that was my recollection too, that
Yeah, moving
there was
stumps and-
some participation in the town by earthwork stuff. Just with respect to the agenda, I'm treating this as a review of project costs, so just, now, you're going to provide us with breakdowns on this stuff?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So we'll move on to discussion of bid alternates, or are we in that same vein here?
Yeah, I think we're kind of touching on that as part of the cost. And just as a quick side note on the bid alternates, we had talked about this area
Yep.
being considered as a potential bid alternate, and then as we talked about earlier, the cold storage facility is a bid alternate.
And on that same subject, we have to move our compost pile at the dump?
Yes, working on it.
Do we have permission to do that? Do we know where it's going and all that?
We know where we want it to go. We're having a meeting with DEP within a couple of weeks.
Okay,
It's very promising. I don't anticipate an issue.
okay. Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, those are the two bid alternates that we've defined thus far.
Okay.
Those two, Jeff, are the salt shed, and not the salt shed, but the cold storage.
Correct, and then that little corner near the administration area where we talked about maybe as a bid alternate, just finishing that out to give you some future expansion space, just as a shell.
Right. How much is that corner for bid alternate?
I don't have that number handy, Dan. I'll add that to the estimate though. I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, just to reiterate the conversation which led us to that, I think that was pretty much based on the fact that we knew we had areas that were not going to be encumbered for, future use. But I don't see it as being real productive to expand the office space at this point, only because I think, obviously we're close with the 12 number, and looks like we're going to have issues, meeting that. And as far as the cold storage is concerned, I mean, I would see to taking that off the table right away. I mean, we have an alternative to that. We have Bay Ridge Lane, and here again, I mean, that number is going to come in on top of our 12, which is just not going to help the general picture here. You got any other input on that, Dan?
Well, I agree with you.
Okay.
Thinking about this, but I'm nervous about the 75%, especially with the police station going over budget. Not sure, how that means to be on all this.
I mean,
So I know our big here for the overall cost, but it would be something you might want to, down. You know, obviously the garage for the alternate problems there of, you know, the cost of building it later versus the cost of building it now. But I think we all want to make sure we get a positive vote on the part of the town. So, you know, I think that 12 number is pretty, taking a look at that. And unless we can find some way to get better bids out, you know, that's something I think we really need to take a look at.
Anybody else have anything on bid alternates?
What's everybody's advice on filling in, putting a slab down and your footings as you go?
Well, the whole thing is,
Right here.
yeah, I understand that. I mean, but the whole thing is, I mean,
I'm,
do we need the office space right now? I mean, build it and you'll fill it, but, you know, also you add it on now and we're going to be, you know, those
Yeah.
two bid alternates are going to take us well over 12. What's the, have you any ideas to the general ballpark number for that cold storage fabric building?
800.
Yeah,
800,000?
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, what are we going to do? We add $1 million to this? I mean, that, we're going in the wrong direction here.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
My thoughts on the cold storage is, like, again, you know, yeah, it's another $1 million onto the project, is wait. Wait until there's a, like, we could move into the new facility, abandon the Bay Ridge, you know, facility, et cetera, and others. But we could, like in the blue building at Bay Ridge, we could take down the wall in the back area.
Yep.
And we could utilize Bay Ridge for cold storage until such time that the town decides what it wants to do with Bay Ridge.
Right,
And/or the compost building.
right,
You know?
right.
And that could be a decision down the road on what to do with it all.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I mean, we've got greater options in cold storage than we do anything else,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a good point, Pete, around the table.
So how do we want to leave the bid alternates? Any input there? Anybody?
I would like to see, you know, as you have said a couple times, the garage. That. You know, it's
So $3
something
million?
we talked to the town about, you know, give them the, you know, the scoop on that. It's going to cost them another, you know, Jeff, to build it later on, that's still enough to worry about. The fact that we're putting it in another 5 years, 4 years. What do you think the additional cost is versus building it now? I know it's a guess, but what do you think the cost would be above that $3 million?
Just looking at escalation, that's about the only thing I can probably give you a sense on. Give me a second.
Is the cold storage embedded in that $12,000 figure, $12 million figure?
So
No.
know, it might be
No, that's
close
the big
to,
old-
if you wait 5 years, that space could be close
Why don't we
to
leave both bid alternates off?
Yeah.
3.9 to
What
$4
What
million.
I'm hearing is, yeah,
Salt
salt
shed.
is,
Just some basic
yeah, the salt shed is part of
escalation
this,
rates.
but the cold storage is not.
Oh, the salt shed is part of it?
Yeah.
Is in
I'm
the-
sorry?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Right
Okay.
now, do you
yeah.
have on the?
Yeah,
Cold
no,
storage is
definitely.
not.
3 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they got Bay Ridge Lane.
Right, exactly.
And
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
can find someplace else to
Yeah.
do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Jesus.
I'm sorry?
A majority of the garage is steel.
Yep, steel, and obviously the concrete, that's, you know, one of your largest areas with the concrete slab. That's just building the structure. There would be some additional costs that would creep in associated with getting all the utilities hooked up to that space. But, you know, not a huge number, but there would be some more costs creeping into that.
And how about the small garage, definitely, with the ability to expand out?
Yep, that's another option too. You could build, you know, less bays on the storage garage, and I guess the key is that we need to recognize that you would have to store your fleet outdoors. And so right now we've kind of
We can store half the fleet, and we can get down $1.5 million. You know, what number are we at right now? 3.6? I mean, 13.6?
13.6.
13.6.
correct.
Yeah, with soft costs, yeah.
So if we built a smaller garage with the design of having a second half put on there. And that gets us under 12.
Yeah, I think what happens if you cut that garage in half, let's say, it is the most inexpensive space, so you have to cut a large piece of it. That little piece that's left really becomes kind of unusable, not unusable, very inefficient, because you lose space driving into the building and you lose space in the corners, at all the four corners. So it becomes this very strange. It would be very inefficient, to say the least.
And chopping it in half is not going to make the price go in
Right.
half.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I understand that, but we only have to get, well, in the end, the garage really is there for the snow fighting, snow fighting. And from my perspective, protecting the fleet here is a nice to have, but not essential. But I think one of the things we need to kind of, what can we do for the fleet during the winter months? Make sure that it's safe for the guys and it's effective, for the equipment. And if we're at $3 million out for the right cut, 1.6, can we do something bucks $1.4 million that gives them something effective for the winter months?
Dan, Tom's got a comment?
I'd rather use the salt storage as a bid alternate before the garage. Even though it's not as much, I would rather see that go before the garage.
Well, not, I'm just saying garage or something that's more effective or designed for just, the fleet, the snow fleet.
What's the square footage on the garage? I mean, the price? Do we have that?
Yeah, it's about $3 million.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh, price per square foot?
square foot?
About $1.70.
Yeah, that, in the whole scheme of things, is
Cheap space.
right down there.
Yeah, it is. It is. To me, the storage garage is a vital space
Yeah.
to that operation.
Yeah.
To extend the life of the equipment, to safety reasons for staff that's going to be accessing it, storing equipment. You're going to have vehicles with water.
Yep.
It's a tough one to cut. There's obviously little things here and there that can be done to continually fine tune it, and that really does come out through the design process. But there's no easy item that I can say to you right now to cut to make up that difference.
What if the worst-case scenario was we did cut the salt shed? What is that building worth?
230.
It's a piece of it. I'm just saying I'd rather see that go before any piece of the garage.
Yeah, I understand that.
If I may.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That doesn't get us to the 12 million. I think that, from my perspective, be realistic, at these town meetings, we're going to see a lot of high priority projects that we're going to be the ugly stepchild. So the police station, water quality, is going to get a lot of attention. It's going to take a lot of air out of the room.
Go ahead, Tom.
Just my comment on the garage and coal storage. So last year when we did the exercise on equipment, saying, okay, what needs to be indoors for winter, winter protection in the conditioned area, and what doesn't. We honed it down pretty minimally, the minimum size that fits our fleet. So the interesting thing I found the last couple of weeks when Jeff and I were working on this was we said, okay, here's the here's the equipment that needs to be in the conditioned space, and here's the equipment that needs to be in the cold storage. And when we did the first cut in the cold storage was almost as big as the conditioned garage, because that's how much equipment we are saying we will not heat, or anything like that. So then we tweaked it a little more. We got it a little bit smaller, but basically the cold storage is almost the size, not quite, maybe 75% of the size of the conditioned garage. That's how much equipment we have. Just giving you perspective.
Yeah, but okay, that's good. So we got, bay rates for cold storage. It's the garage now. We really got to worry about that $12 million number. And I think the key thing, Tom, we're the owner does, you know, on the building overall. If we don't get that 75%, then we're, you know, it's another year out. So at some point, you know, you gotta look at the politics of it, decide, can you get that 75 or can you get 35%? Or are we gonna try to work with the 12 million number and try to sell that? What was the vote last time? What was the, Pete, do you remember what the vote was last time?
No.
Percentage got voted against our, the $146 sign, dollars.
I don't recall off the top of my head, Dan. Okay. So where do we want to leave the bid alternates? Right where they are, or?
I think I'd leave
I think the issue is what would, you know, maybe bid alternate is the right concept. I think it's more town meeting strategy is the question. Maybe we should talk about it at the next meeting if we get, you know, Tom and Jeff and everybody's had more time to work on it. But I think we need to have a big thing, which is strategy for the town meeting.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
John, what do you think? John, I haven't heard you talk about this at all. You've been through a lot of this before. What's your thoughts on all this?
Well, my thought is you really need to make a decision today, whether you're gonna present this or not present it. It's never gonna be cheaper than it is now, and I don't think that going from 12.6 to 13.5 or 13.6 is that big of an increase based on the amount of time it's taken to get this far. And since we're gonna be making our decisions in the next week to 3 weeks, I think you should take a vote, say you're gonna go with this plan, and bring it before the Board of Selectmen, and then we'll pick it apart when we discuss the capital plan, but I think you've done your work.
Right.
I don't think you can cut it any smaller.
Right.
Or you're gonna eliminate the line that's in your charges, it's supposed to last for the next 30 years.
Right.
We don't know what's gonna happen in the next 30 years, and those spaces you're talking about can be altered at a different time with a different town meeting and a different bunch of taxpayers.
I think we just ought to concentrate on the best building and forget about trying to anticipate what's going to happen at the town meeting.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we've done the best we could to produce a
I mean, the only
cost-effective
other
project.
thing that could affect that at this point would be the peer review. And,
But I think you vetted it so well here
Yep.
that it's worth taking it to the next step.
yeah, and I would agree with that.
And being ready to defend it at town meeting.
Yep.
Right.
And I would agree with that. I think we've been, you know, I think we've been pretty thorough.
Cut it down a lot from the start.
I
What was it,
speaking for myself,
17
I would not
something
try
when
to
we
cut
first
anything
started?
more out of it.
17 and a half without
17.
phasing. It was over 20 something if you phased it.
And now we've cut it down one hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Done a good job, I think.
I agree.
Okay, Pete, do you want to put that to a vote then?
Yeah, I think I would, yeah. I think I would move that we, vote to recommend, the current design scheme as presented by Weston and Sampson to the selectmen for, incorporation into the, capital plan.
And a town meeting
And town meeting.
warrant article.
Right, town meeting warrant article, yes, for this year.
Need a
Second.
Okay.
You got a second?
And for, we've got to, we're doing this by roll call, so it's got to be aye, Hank Spadesha, if you
Aye.
would.
Hi, Henry Spadesha.
Aye, Peter Canine, vote for.
Hi, Mike Smith.
Hi, Buddy Young.
Dan?
Dan?
Hi, Dan Corsi.
Okay,
So the motion carries 5-0-0.
yep. Okay. All righty. As a point of, just being thorough here, our final report to the selectmen, is that, I can't see that getting done this week, to be honest with you.
Well, I think what is really necessary is what Tom is going to present in the next week or so.
Okay,
And if you authorize as a committee to have Tom present your findings,
Yep.
a written report can come after,
Okay, all right, fine.
but you would have to vote on.
Right, okay. Okay, shall we move on to the minutes?
I'm gonna save the last three. Or do you want just this one? I can, you know, two committee.
Any comments?
Both.
Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
I've got a quick question.
Go ahead.
We got a second first.
Without the cold storage, the new brick shed,
What was that?
Flip to right now.
Dan?
yeah?
We're talking about acceptance of the minutes.
Right, I have a real quick question, Steve.
If you want to go back and discuss something, we can do that. But I'd like to take care of the issue on the table here right now, which is, okay, do we have,
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
okay. I hear a vote? Aye? Aye, Peter Canine?
Aye, Mike Smith.
I'd rather you.
I think we're at the,
Okay, and now that we have that out of the way.
Now, what did it want?
Now, what Dan was.
Okay, Dan,
Steve,
Yeah.
The question was the 13.6, including the cold storage fabric shed?
No.
no, it does not.
Okay, good, I'm done, thanks.
Okay. Items for future agenda. Do we, let's see,
Are
when,
we going to be disbanded?
yeah, I guess the next question is,
Never getting this big.
I
How
wish.
do you want to go about final report?
Yeah, your future agenda item is,
Yeah.
somebody needs to write a report, you need to discuss it.
Yep.
Agree on it.
Yep.
And then present it.
I
That's
guess,
one thing.
well, I guess that would be me drafting that. You guys, I'll bet you guys are okay with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
I can help you with,
If you insist.
Yeah,
I
okay,
can help you with PowerPoint, all the
Okay.
cost estimates, and kind
Okay.
of put it all in one package for you.
all right.
And then you can do a write-up on it.
As another issue, the Orleans Citizens Forum, which I've committed to us being there for is scheduled a Thursday, March 31st at the Orleans Senior Center. I've told them we'll be available for that, and I think that's a kind of a huge issue. It is a great forum for information, getting this out to the community, and I think we can, at that point, obviously, have all our ducks in a row and a good presentation to go with that.
What's the date?
Thursday, March 31st.
You get a ballpark time on that?
Yeah, it's 3:30 to 5 o'clock at the Orleans Senior Center.
Peter, I would recommend that when Tom is presenting what you voted on.
Yep.
The meeting, that people come for that part of it.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
that's going to show the Board of Selectmen that
Committed.
you support that.
Yep.
When
If
is,
there's any question on anything he says, you'll be there to say,
Yeah.
yes, we said that, no, we didn't say that.
Okay, so for the immediate mechanics of what needs to be done vis-à-vis the selectmen, we just gonna, am I gonna get together with Tom and make a presentation to the selectmen again, or?
Well, I would do that to help that part. He'll do most of the presentation, but you need to take a vote of your board that you can speak for them when he makes his presentation for you.
Okay, I would put a motion,
So moved.
that we,
second.
all right,
You know, as long as somebody wrote it down somewhere.
You're right.
yeah.
Okay.
Are
You
you,
got a
So-
motion, you need a second.
yep, that I'm authorized to speak on behalf of the committee in front of the selectmen with Tom.
What day, when will that happen?
Wednesday. I'm gonna, as part of my quarterly report, I always give them an update on what you guys are up to and talk to them, real quick. And so I will do that again. I'll give them a quick run through floor plans and costs and your
Yep.
vote.
Okay,
Kind
great.
of a quick brush, just a quick broad brush.
Yeah.
This is where we're.
Yeah, I mean, they have the background of what's going on. I don't think that'll take too much updating. Okay, so we have a motion to, did you read that?
We have a motion for the chairman to speak on behalf of the committee with selectmen and with Tom at the next selectmen's meeting regarding the DPW project.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Buddy, second. And a vote. Aye, Peter
Aye.
Panini.
Aye.
Mike Smith?
Aye.
Dan?
He said aye.
He said
Oh,
aye.
okay.
I was gonna say his name though.
Aye.
Buddy,
All right. Then I would move to adjourn.
Is there a next meeting or not?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why don't you wait and see what happens?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's probably most productive. All right. There's a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I second it.
You gotta do a roll call.
Peter Canine, aye.
Mike Smith?
Thanks, Padesha, aye.
buddy, aye.
Dan Clancy, aye.